It is not a structure, but a confession stretched across mountains. Not born to be beautiful, nor meant to be admired from above, the Great Wall exists as a trace left by fear upon the land. Standing before these stones, the question is no longer simple. What made an empire choose to patch its borders with human lives? How much is enough to pay for a sense of security? And can a wall truly stop the enemy? Or is it only trying to conceal the insecurity within? We call it the Great Wall. But that name is like a coat of paint, hiding the calloused hands worn down by stone, the people who vanished without a trace, the freezing nights, the invasions, the fires, and the kings who built it just to fight their own fear. Before becoming a tourist destination, before photographs and guided tours, this wall once stood as the boundary between two worlds. On one side were fields, cities, roads, and villages, where life moved slowly. On the other side lay vast grasslands, riders as fast as storms, people who appeared and vanished like air, leaving only smoke and fear behind. Sudden attacks, villages burned to the ground, crops plundered. Emperors changed, dynasties collapsed and rose again. But the fear of a sea of horses and spears appearing at any moment remained like an unforgettable nightmare. At first, the answer was not a single wall. There were many smaller, more fragile ones: rammed earth walls, scattered fortresses, wooden barriers hastily built and quickly destroyed. Each generation added a part. Each ruler built their own section, believing they would be the one to end the threat, but none truly succeeded. Then came the moment when fear became a project. One man rose to power with the idea of unifying everything: laws, roads, units of measurement, and the walls. The first emperor of China looked to the north and saw only one thing: a weak, porous border. And he decided those gaps had to be erased. From that moment, the wall was no longer a scattered collection, but became a unified entity. a line stretching across mountains, deserts, rivers, and valleys. No longer separate segments, but a single body of stone, brick, and watchtowers. A giant serpent that demanded the sacrifice of millions to be born. The first construction teams climbed to the mountaintops. There was nothing there, no roads, no homes. Only rock, freezing winters, and harsh summers. The command was clear. A wall would rise here. Farmers were conscripted, prisoners, soldiers, craftsmen, all pushed north like an endless stream. No one knew if they would return, and many never did. To those in power, the wall was not just defense. It was a message. The borders of China are inviolable, and the empire may bend but cannot be broken. Centuries later, millions would walk on those stones, take photos and videos, and retell this story with ease. Unaware that beneath each step may lie a name never written anywhere. This is where our journey begins. Not from a perfect postcard of the wall at sunset, but from a very specific question. How much must an empire pay for its security, in lives and in fear? The construction site of the Great Wall was formed atop mountains. It was built along steep and treacherous slopes. There were no machines. Stones were dragged by hand, carried on shoulders, passed from one person to another like a living chain. Stopping was not an option. It meant being replaced and forgotten. By day, there was the constant sound of hammers, stone, and commands. By night, silence took over, broken only by the sound of fire. Some thought of their families, others looked north, where fear still lingered. The wall did not only keep enemies out, it also controlled what was inside: goods, people, movement. It was a reminder of the emperor's absolute power. Yet the larger it grew, the more its fragility became clear. Enemies still found ways in, bribing guards, exploiting frozen rivers in winter. The wall slowed them, made things harder, but it was never a perfect shield. Along the wall were watchtowers, where guards lived in isolation for months, enduring the cold, eating simple food, and constantly observing. They watched the skies, the plains, and distant smoke signals. The wall was also a communication system. One fire signaled danger, 2 fires signaled greater danger, 3 fires signaled emergency. Information could travel hundreds of kilometers within minutes. Over the centuries, dynasties changed. Some sections were abandoned, others reinforced with fired bricks, drainage systems, stairways, and even cannon placements. For people living near the border, the wall was both protection, labor, and mystery. It marked the boundary of another world, both feared and necessary for trade. Over time, a belief emerged. The wall was built upon the bones of those who made it. Though not always accurate, it reflects the human cost. Today, many walk the wall without thinking about it. But every stone holds a story of effort, fear, and forgotten lives. Over time, the Great Wall became a symbol. And a famous claim appeared. It is the only structure visible from space with the naked eye. It sounds impressive, but it is not entirely true. From Earth's orbit, the wall is very difficult to see. Its true power does not lie in space, but on the ground. Today, some parts are crowded with tourists, others lie in ruins. But for those who built it, it was once work, command, and fear. The Great Wall did not stop all wars, but it has endured through dynasties, armies, and even those who sought to destroy it. If one day you come here, try to pause and look up. That wall is the sum of fear, ambition, sacrifice, and the labor of millions of unnamed people. And that's where our journey begins. A simple question: what is the price of the security of a true empire?